What is going on? Welcome to the latest installment in a series of playoff previews. Today we're going to be talking about the last team who punched their ticket into the playoffs. Just happened last night, the Montreal Canadiens. Congrats to the Canadiens, and congrats to all you Canadiens fans who might be watching this video. I guess the English-speaking Canadian fans who are watching this video, but who knows, maybe the French Canadian audience is watching. Maybe there's just a new tool that I don't know about. I know the tool exists, only a matter of time before it's on YouTube, where it takes what you're saying. Not only does it translate it, not just the words, but it translates the sound. You are going to hear me speak in a French accent, not just a French accent. I'm going to be speaking in French. This exists. This fully exists, by the way. There are AI tools that make me speak in French, also with the correct French pronunciations. Somebody's watching my animated breakdowns of this video somewhere in some alternate universe, which is soon to be ours, sounding like Pepé Le Pew. So if you French Canadians are watching, happy that you're here. I have nothing but nice things to say about my time in Montreal. It's the classic place to go when you're 18, 19, 20, and you grow up in the Northeast and you want to go have some good times, because good times can be had at the age of 18 in Montreal. Just something for you younger folks to know out there. I'm not telling you what to do. All I'm saying is that when I was 18 and 20 and went to Montreal, I had a good time. Take from that what you will. Take from this video what you will as well, because I'm going to be talking about these Montreal Canadiens facing the number one seed in the East. Who is this juggernaut who finished tops in the East? It's, the Washington Capitals. Are they a juggernaut? Where do they lie in the Stanley Cup odds? Not too high. I don't know what your particular view on the Capitals is, but this series, the question that must be asked is, who's the bigger scam? And when I say scam, for Montreal, you could say, is this the team we saw for the majority of the season? Or is this the team that we saw sprinting after the Four Nations face-off, where they came back and they had an incredible record? It was one of the biggest turnarounds to make the playoffs in like the last 10 or so years. So they caught fire, they leapfrogged a whole bunch of teams, and they got that last spot. Where do they lie in the grand scheme of things? You also have to ask yourself, would you rather that hot team going into the playoffs, like, the St. Louis Blues, or like these Montreal Canadiens, or a team who clinched it a while ago, and now we're lulled into a false sense of believing this team's not good because they're not fielding a full roster and they're just mailing in a bunch of these late season games? That's one of the big questions we have to ask ourselves in this series between the Habs and the Caps. Who is the bigger scam? And in Washington's case, when we say scam, we mean they're the number one seed in the East. So when you're talking about the standings, it would be them, Toronto, Tampa, Carolina, Florida. So when we say, are they a scam, it's in comparison with, who they're surrounded by. In the Canadiens' case, it's just in the playoffs overall. Now, when it comes to looking at this series, I have a couple bullet points here. One of the main ones, and obviously you're going to see a lot of carryover from series to series, because what do you know? Many of the same things decide NHL playoff series, but there are a few bigger than Logan Thompson's status for the Washington Capitals. He was having an incredible year, like an all-star caliber year. And now I guess we got to ask ourselves, after his injury, has Washington conceded a ton of goals and lost a ton of games because A, they had nothing to play for throughout these final few weeks, or B, was Logan Thompson kind of bailing them out a little bit? His status is obviously a pretty big factor going into this series. And then you also have to ask yourself, if Logan Thompson does play, is it going to be like what we saw with the Bruins when they had that incredible record 2 years ago, and then Ullmark missed the end of the season? Like, no, it's just kind of maintenance. He's going to be back game one. Struggles that entire series, and then we learn after the playoffs, he actually wasn't really 100%. And you didn't get the version that you had come to expect all year in the playoffs. You got a weird, not so good version of it. Are we going to see Thompson rush back from injury too soon and then potentially have a bad series? it's definitely not a 0% chance. If he plays, as you saw with Jacob Markstrom, goaltending, we know this. It's the most mentally dependent position in the entire NHL. Like, there's nothing else. I mean, yes, you have goal scorers who go into grooves and then shooting slumps, but when an NHL goalie is not feeling it and he's slumping, and we've seen this from the best of them, that's a rough place to be in. And the flip side of that is when a great goalie is in the groove, they seem like absolute brick walls and can just steal a series. So Thompson's status is a pretty big factor here, and not just his status. What's he going to be like when he returns? Is it going to be pre-injury Markstrom, just like in that Devils series, or is it going to be some different iteration of him? So that is a huge factor in terms of the Washington Capitals. Then after that, the Canadiens' miserable defense. They have the worst defense in terms of statistics out of all the NHL playoff teams. They're bottom 5 in the NHL in scoring chances allowed, high danger chances allowed, and expected goals allowed. Weirdly enough, they've been somewhat bailed out by their goaltending, which, what do you know? The collective save percentage of Montreal is still the worst of all these playoff teams. So there's a lot to hate in terms of the Montreal Canadiens defense. And if you don't have that particular facet of your game ironed out in the playoffs, being able to lock down teams once you have a lead. We call these the clenched ass cheeks playoffs. We've been teasing it all season. Why is that? Because goals are hard to come by. So when you do have leads late in games, you need to know how to close them out. One of the huge questions is, can Washington turn back time to the beginning of the year all the way through, kind of up to the Four Nations break? They had an incredible year. The only thing a bunch of people are wondering, including myself, is this sustainable? I know so many teams who didn't make the playoffs like, no, we just have to do a Washington retool. We have to just do what Washington did. Let's do exactly what Washington did this year, and we'll just be fine. We don't know if this Washington thing is going to be sustainable. This is like, the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, it's morphin time, and they all check in, or Captain Planet, Earth, Fire, Wind, Water, and then that Captain Planet comes around. It seems like every single person is a Power Ranger. Ovechkin at 40, just having an absurd year, 40-something goals. Dylan Strome, a career year. Protus, 30-something goals. Tom Wilson, reinvigorated for a year. Pierre-Luc Dubois, Reclamation Project, having a career year. This all just happened to strike at the same time. It's been a Captain Planet year. Let's see if it's back for season 2 last year. In fact, let's see if it's back even for the playoffs. That's the question to be. Can the Caps forwards replicate their regular season success? Dylan Strome, career year. Dubois, career year. Protus, all those even strength goals, doesn't even get power play time. That's a lot of things that, if I was a wagering man, hence the names of most of my shows, these NHL sniffs, I would bet no. I would bet that Ovechkin at 40 or 41 is not going to pop in another 40. That Dylan Strome is not going to have. Just like the scam President's Trophy Rangers came back down to earth the following year, and Trocheck wasn't that magic player he was last year. Lafreniere wasn't scoring every other game. They came back down to earth way more than I thought. And the Capitals definitely trended in the right direction, but it seems like this is a big outlier year for many of those players. But the thing that I do like about them, the way that I would build my teams, as I repeatedly say, give me multiple lines of scores. And the second part of that, give me horses on defense. I want horses on defense, because in low-scoring games, when a 2-1 final is likely in Game 6, Game 7, give me as many defensemen as that I can rely upon as possible. And when they brought in Jacob Chychrun, that was something I could absolutely get behind. And another thing I can get behind is their coach. Because one thing we learned about the Capitals last year is, despite them having one of the worst teams you've ever seen in your life, Carberry got them to the playoffs based on adapting the team to what they needed to do to win. And what did they do? They played crusty, low-scoring hockey, the type of hockey you see many times in the playoffs that a casual watcher doesn't like, but a lot of sniffers do like in terms of the picks that I give out on the channel. But you see a lot of low-event, low-scoring, make the most of the chances you do have. We saw that from the Capitals, and I love that they have that in their back pocket. I love any team that knows how to play defense when push comes to shove. And the Washington Capitals, they have those fundamentals in place. They're second in the NHL in block shots, which is a commitment-based type of stat. This is a team that can play defense. They ranked top 5, I believe, defensively throughout the course of the season. And as you may know, I have to keep telling younger fans this, the same Marner donkeys that probably were arguing yesterday. Every time there's a big offense, it always loses to a better defense. It's just every single time. They'll never learn. It does not matter. Just like the Edmonton Oilers lost to the Florida Panthers, just like the Tampa Bay Lightning used to lose every single year. Broke the record for best regular season of all time, got swept by a defensive Tortorella team. Then they start implementing defense. All their game 7s are 1-0 or 2-1 wins. What do you know? Back-to-back Stanley Cups. It's defense that always wins. I know there's maybe the cliche in football, defense wins championships, but come playoff time, when refs swallow their whistles and the games are 2-1, there's one way to win. It's the defensive clenched ass cheek style, where you know how to defend leads and you don't give quality chances to the opposition. So when push comes to shove, people may be backing the Montreal Canadiens because of this late season run. I'll always trust the team that knows how to lock it down. And the Canadiens are going to find themselves in some low-scoring games, and I just think they're just going to panic. That's not their style. They need to score, and I'm going to trust the team that knows how to play defense, and the team, that does have home ice advantage, and they can figure things out along the way. So I'm going with the Washington Capitals here. As far as individual bets are concerned, give me Tom Wilson for most goals plus 1,000. Maybe you can find it at a better price. He's going to be in front of the net collecting garbage goals. He's the type of player that plays well in the playoffs. Another guy who's going to be more impactful than Mitch Marner. And that's the kind of guy that I think maybe can collect some goals in a series. You can look at the Montreal side. They have a couple different guys who can get, obviously there's Caulfield, Suzuki, Laine. Those guys can all score. But the ingredients you're looking for is ample power play time and plays with some of the best players. The thing about Wilson that's kind of cool, he plays with Strome and Ovechkin, and sometimes they move him around with Dubois. So if he gets hot at different points with both lines, he may find a way to separate himself. So how about a little Tom Wilson leading the series in goals and maybe leading in points? Let's go with John Carlson, the power play 1 defenseman for the Washington Capitals. You would think it's rare, but at the Four Nations, Zach Werenski led the entire tournament in points, more than McDavid, more than McKinnon. It was Zach Werenski. So it can happen. You usually want to chase that defenseman on power play 1. So I'll take a little sniff at John Carlson for most points in this series. That's what I have for you in this series preview. Good luck to both of those teams, but still better luck to me. Make sure you are subscribed here to my YouTube channel. If you enjoy these videos, you enjoy the daily snip videos, you enjoy the comedy videos, you enjoy anything and everything that's posted on this channel. How do you know what else is posted? How will you know when it's posted? By clicking the notifications. How do you get me to make more videos? By showing your appreciation by liking, commenting, doing all those things that cost you $0. But if you want something that costs you more than $0, you can come join the Patreon, where we have additional sniffs out there. We have chat rooms with the other sniffers. That's where Josh posts his baseball picks. It's a pretty solid place that a lot of people seem to enjoy their time there. Hopefully you are one of them soon. If not, no worries. I'll see you in the next video later today. Take it easy. Good luck, and I'll see you next time.